what actually made Kibaki so special? And as I think about him, I see 6 E's that maybe made him to be the kind of a leader that he was. And number one, I think Mr. Kibaki had what we call character. And by the way, we are asking a poll question there. Can we have another Kibaki like we had? Now, Kibaki had character. Somebody said the stronger your character, the better your growth. And we need to be very careful of 3 G's in our own lives. And G number one is gold, girls, and glory. Because for when we look at them, they have brought so many people down. When you grow in the area of character, actually you become great and you become attractive. And it is actually said that in 99% of leadership failures basically come from character, which actually put to us that character, it is very, very important. And we need to shift from what we call charisma and actually switch our gears to character. Character, I mean, charisma takes you up there, but what makes you to stay there is what we call character. Integrity is such a missing and vanishing commodity within the marketplace today. And it is very important for us to know that when we fail in character, then we have failed in everything. And one of the things that made Satan to fail and to live and to vacate the state house of God or the palace of God was simply because he lacked it. Now, and just to help us so that we can have character, I suggest that we need to follow a certain set of laws that I believe that can help us to live a life of integrity, to live a life of character. But before then, it's very important for us to say we are not asking us to be holy. I mean to be perfect, because it is not possible for us to live in perfection. But what we are asking us to be able to do is to live in uh, holiness, in purity, and the law of decision. We need to. We need to make a decision, and this is a decision that I've always made, and I continually make every day. Is that I want to be good on the inside, not in on the outside. Whereas the outside of us is very important, but even more importantly, if we can work on our inside, the whole issue of attitude, the whole issue of our perception, the whole issue of our motivation. Why are we doing what we do? The ability to control our appetite, our greed, working on the inside and not working on the outside. And I believe that's why Jesus said, when he was condemning the hypocrites, he was telling them, you work on the outside. Now, and you make the grave look so well, so good, yet inside of you is full of dead bones. And he dismissed them as hypocrites. But even important for us to be able to live a life of character, I believe we need to follow the law of prayer. We cannot be able to make it on our own. We really need to ask God to help us. And we need to depend on Him. We need to pray that He's going to help us, that we do not become victims of Samson, that we don't fall victim like Samson, who was tricked and denied glory and died prematurely thanks to his lack of self-control. But even more importantly, the law of reflection, the ability to pause from time to time and think and ask yourself, am I following the right path? And I believe, like Prato said, a worth life, a great life is worth reflecting over. Taking time to ask yourself, am I in the right track? Am I associating with the right people? The ability to sit down and take stock of where you are going and where you are coming from, and be able to make the right amendments in your own life, so such that you are able to change your course, just as the prodigal son would remind us. That is the ability to ask ourselves, are we taking it right? Are we walking in the right step? the law of association, the desire, the decision to be able to say, I will avoid wrong company. Your network determines your network. Your network determines your network. And actually, your network is actually determines your network. Your life is determined by three things. Number one, by the books you read, and then by the company that you keep, and by the programs that you watch. And it is very important for us to be able to check, to audit, to vet the kind of people that actually stay close to us. You stay with conmen, you are going to become a professional conman. If you stay around a pastor, definitely you're going to become a minister of the word. And so it is very important, just as the Bible says in Proverbs 13:20, if you walk with the wise, you are going to be wise. And then number four, the law of commitment. Character is a matter of making a commitment that I'm going to do it right, even when everybody else is doing it wrong. And the whole issue of humility, that even when you are wrong, you will allow others to correct you. You'll be able to say sorry. So Kibaki was at it. He was the best leader because he followed what we call character. And he was very simple. He was humble. He was not arrogant. He was not like a chicken. When a chicken lays an egg, it shouts the whole village. The whole village knows that it has laid an egg. Kibaki was simple. No wonder he had character. Number two, for us to be able to attain a Kibaki style of leadership, for us to be able to be Kibaki type of leader, I believe we need to be effective. And that is making most of our every opportunity. The psalmist said in Psalms 90 that, Lord, teach us to number our days because our days are few. Life is very brief. And if you're wondering, there's a story that we did in class 5 that was written, was about Simon McCordy. And let me read it for you. It says that Simon McCordy was born on Monday. He was baptized on Tuesday. He got married on Wednesday. On Thursday, he was taken ill and admitted on hospital on Friday. On Saturday, Simon McCordy was normal. Well, this sounds like an exaggeration, but actually that is how brief life is. Just the other day, I was sitting for KCPE, just the other day. It looks like just like the other day. This year, our own son is sitting for the same, and they just look like yesterday. I can even remember the teachers who were doing it for me, and that was in 19. Those are how many years? Like 30 years ago, and looks like yesterday. Life is very brief, and so because life is very brief, if you want to live a life the Kibaki way, then you need to estimate. That means you only need to know what you need to do, and you can only do one thing at a time and decide that which you're going to do, because you cannot do everything. Number two, you need to eliminate. There are things in your life that are not worth your attention. You need to kick them out. If you cannot delegate them, you need to leave them and leave them completely. But even more importantly, you need to sit down and ask yourself, what is very important? What is it that God would want me to do with the life that He has entrusted to me? How can I spend the years that the Lord has allocated to me profitably, to be useful in a helpful way? How can I live a relevant life and not become wasteful? And if whatever it is that you are doing is not important, is not within your calling, then we are calling you to delegate. Delegate to people who are gifted, who are passionate in the areas that you're weak in. And then number three, I believe Kibaki style of type of leaders have what we call environment. For you to be able to attain Kibaki kind of leadership, then you need to check your environment. And we are saying if you fly with eagles, then definitely you are going to be an eagle. For plants, for them to grow, they need air, water, and light. And when any of this is missing, then of course, there is no growth. And I believe what for us to be able to grow, just like Kibaki, is number one, we need to stretch. Kibaki stretched. When he made the promise that he's going to give Kenyans a constitution for 100 days, he really meant it. And it was an exercise. It was a promise that would actually require him to stretch. This promise that there's going to be free primary education was also a promise that actually would help him to stretch. But even more importantly is that Kibaki inspired. He inspired Kenyans on his inaugural speech, on his acceptance day, while still on wheelchair. He said corruption is not going to be the order of the day. It's not going to, this is our presidency or his presidency, he remarked, is going to end roadside declaration. Quite inspiring by that time. And it was the hope that Kenyans were waiting for. And a leader of Kibaki style and of or type needs to be inspiring. But even more importantly is the whole issue of modeling. Kibaki became a model of a simple presidency. Before then, presidency was enshrouded in mystery. But from Kibaki's time, we were able to see presidents are people like us. They are simple. They can make mistakes. They can come into camera and make fun. They're just normal human beings like us. And so when we talk about environment, a leader needs to live in an environment of security, an environment of maturity, something that Kibaki thrived in. The third president again was emotional. He was not given to temper tantrums. He was controlled. He was reserved. He was very calm. He never, even when he was attacking people, he never threw jabs at them. He used the third person style to attack his critics. And when you look at Kibaki, he was somebody who was very mature, somebody that was really composed, a real wonderful trait that we really need to have. And Kibaki type of leaders are not given to emotions, especially of anger. And I believe the reason why he was able to pull up the nation together, especially after 207, is because of his composure, because of his coolness, because he was not given to impasse. Number five, I mean, yes, uh, is the whole issue of economy, the ability to make money grow. We are a nation of 50 million beggars and 50 millionaires or 50 billionaires. And there are three types of people when it comes to economy. We either have poor people, or we have employees, or we have entrepreneurs. And with the poor people, they spend their money immediately once they get it. But an employee would keep a small amount of money, while an investor would save to make more money. Actually, there are times we ask ourselves, we compare Kenyans with Indians or Chinese. He said if you give a Kenyan 10,000 shillings, he is going to spend the whole amount and borrow 1,000 more. But if you give an Indian or a Chinese the same amount, he is going to spend 10,000 and invest 90,000. That is the whole difference between the two. And it is very important for us to be able to have three types of education, and that is financial education and literacy and professional. Professional education is when they teach you to be a marketer, when they teach you to be an engineer. Literacy is the one that we got in primary and high school when they taught us to read and write and speak. Financial education is to help us to be able to know when we invest, we add money, when we spend, we minus. It is to be taught how to increase your revenue avenues, to be able to increase your avenues and to do cost effective things. And then finally, Kibaki was one guy who loved excellence. It is said that he was really bothered when he delegated a ministry to you and it was not performing. No wonder his appointment was not necessarily on what we call political loyalty. Kibaki never used political loyalty to do his appointment. But as Abasinda Muthaura, the former public servant service guy, would tell us, is that for him it was capacity. He would always ask, will he perform? Will he perform? And no wonder, much as Mother Karua was not liked by the insiders, he went ahead and appointed her because he thought and he believed that Mother Karua had what it takes. And so it is very important for us to be able to style up our lives and be able to embrace excellence. We need to do more and believe in the word of walking an extra mile. And most of us are not able to give our best. We don't even give our better than the best because we do not believe in quality. We believe in quantity. And maybe somehow we need to be reminded of what we call amphilas. It is said Meshala Gelo once found his guy, his amateur, who was making a drawing, actually a painting. And when his student brought the painting, the drawing to him, Mesharagero wrote the word amphilas, and which means make it better. And if there's anything that I believe Kibaki lived for, and Wanjiku should vote such people, are leaders who believe in amphilas, who believes in making things better, in making things greater, in making things just a little bit better. We need to live to the slogan of Toyota, of Clayson, of making things improve, to make things live better. And allow us to challenge all of us if we are going to have a generation of leaders who eat last. And because that is the slogan, then we need to have Kibaki type of leaders. Leaders who believe in character, leaders who believe in effectiveness, that is time management, leaders who believe in making money grow and teaching us to own fish pond, not giving us fish, leaders who believe in excellence. These are the things that are needed when it comes to electing the next type of a leader. And it has nothing to do with whether that leader is in Azimio or in Kenya Kwanza. That is not our discussion for today. And we are challenging the likes of Dr. Simon Thiongo, who and Father Peter Karanja, who are actually watching us today, that it is your prerogative and it is part of your responsibility to be able to move out there and teach people what it takes to elect leaders like Kibaki, that they need to be effective, they need to uh, 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 have character. Those traits are mandatory. For those of you that have been watching us, thank you very much. I believe you voted our question, and the question that we are asking today is, can we have another Kibaki? Please go in there, vote, and I'm going to read your comments. I'm going to read your comments now. I believe, please, are you there, please? Is anybody voting? I would want anybody to vote in now. Kindly, are you there? Dr. Thiongo, kindly, can you tell us, can we have another Kibaki? And by the way, who have the responsibility of creating Kibaki types of leaders? Is it the church or is it, who do we delegate the responsibility of making, of raising, of mentoring Kibaki type of leaders? I see Dr. Thiongo, you're telling me I'm following and you're making sense. Thank you very much. I really appreciate Thank you very much. Daktari, we are asking a, a question. Can we have Kibaki type of leaders? And who can make such leaders? Who is responsible of making such kind of leaders? Please let us know, because it is very important. If Kenya will be able to go to the next level, then it is paramount that we make such kind of leaders. Who is responsible for making such kind of leaders? Is it the church, or is it the education sector, or is it the business community? Kindly let us know. Please let us know. Anyway, thank you very much for taking time to watch. My name is John Kimani. That was Leadership Matters, Leaders Eat Last. And until next week, by the way, Dr. Thiongo, you are saying, yes, it is possible, you and me. You're saying it's you and me. I can't agree more. And until next week, such a time as this, may the Lord bless you. Thank you very much for watching. Remember what we always say here. Inawezekana. Have a blessed